Are you having fun with that? You're good. I just want to get inside.
All right. Bueno. Cool. All right. Don't. Can't do it. I can't do it, onion. All right. I feel like it's a conversation coming out of nowhere. So I gotta like pretend and get myself going a little bit so it seems like normal to be talking about it. Hello, everyone. All right. As you know, eating well is expensive and impossible for lots of different reasons, and going out all the time is also expensive and impossible for lots of different reasons. So I'm gonna try to make it a little easier, a little you know, maybe not so daunting to, you know, step into the kitchen and make dinner for you and your family, or just yourself or whoever it may be. You don't need to spend $1 million at the grocery or buy 1 million different things. You can have a couple different things. Maybe one week or another you buy something a little more interesting, and things aren't going to waste in the fridge, and you're not overspending, overindulging out, and maybe you can learn some things in the kitchen, and if you're single, maybe this will help that too. Product knowledge. This is when I was in school. Product knowledge was the first class and always my favorite class. I keep a couple staple items in my pantry, and then every once in a while I'll branch out and get a couple different things, but I think it's best to stick to a couple things and just utilize them in different ways. Onions. This is a sweeter onion. I like to slice these up and either slice them very thin and put them in a salad, or I cook them a lot as well. It gives a nice sweet flavor. This is a Spanish or a yellow onion, a little more bite, a little more fragrant, not so sweet as this onion. Oh, carrot down. As this flat guy right here. Flat is going to be sweet. This fat guy, not so much. A little harsher, a little more bite, a little more of that oniony flavor that you're used to. Red onion is a classic, lots of different preparations. Has some sweetness, but also has an oniony bite to it. Shallots feel like are a little harder to work with for people who aren't terribly familiar, just because they're small and knives can be scary. And fingers are nice to keep on your hands. They are really nice and sweet and mild, and can be used in lots of different ways. I almost lost them. Potatoes. I usually just buy a bag of red potatoes. I think red potatoes are very multi-purpose, can be used in lots of different ways. You can boil them whole, you can bake them. They're a little softer, not as mealy as a white russet potato. You can chop them up, you can make potato wedges or fries, you can make scalloped potatoes. There's a million things you can do with them. They're very versatile, and I think that it's easier just to buy one type of something and use it a lot of different ways instead of usually half my potatoes rot, so I'd rather just buy one. Sweet potato. This is actually something I don't buy all the time, but maybe I'll buy 1 or 2 a week. That's pretty much it for potatoes. I don't really do a lot of potatoes or a lot of starchy things like that. For grains or carbs, I keep pastas. I have like chickpea or red bean pastas. I have regular pasta, rice, quinoa. You know, I like pasta. Eggplant. For other produces, it's nice to have a couple other things on hand. The eggplant is something that I don't buy too often either, maybe once a month or something, just as an addition. Kale, nice to have. Also, not something I buy all the time. I like to keep kale or spinach or some kind of dark green in the house at all times, but I'm not gonna buy all of them at the same time. Bell peppers, I'll buy probably a couple of these here and there. I'm not always gonna buy all the colors. I like to mix it up. Carrots, I find that they last a while, so I'll buy a bag of carrots that'll last like a month. They cost you like $1. Tomatoes, sometimes I'll buy whole tomatoes on the vine. Sometimes I'll buy little guys. Makes no difference. Garlic, you can buy chopped garlic in oil. You can buy garlic in little bits that's already peeled. You can buy the whole garlic. It's kind of up to you what you want to do. I prefer the peeled garlic for most everyday cooking. It's just easier. But I like whole garlic for certain things like roasting and baking and things like that. Oh, I missed my onions. These are scallions or green onions. They are not chives, it's not the same thing. They're different. Chives look like grass. These are green onions or scallions. You can use the white part, you can use the top. They're great for everything. You can cook them, you can leave them raw, sprinkle them on top. I love them, they're my favorite. Very mild, very sweet. Nom nom nom. Zucchinis or squash, green zucchini or yellow squash. Also something I buy sporadically. I don't buy all of these things all the time. Sometimes I'll buy bell pepper, sometimes I'll buy squash, sometimes I'll buy zucchini, sometimes I'll buy spinach. It's not something I buy all the time, but every couple weeks I buy one or the other, just to have a nice variety. That way we're not eating exactly the same thing all the time. But the whole point of this is that you learn techniques and feel comfortable kind of like branching out into those different areas. Protein. Protein is also something that's very variable. You can have fish, you can have chicken, you can have pork, you can have beef. It's up to you, it's up to your diet. For price point, I really like a whole chicken. It's cheaper to get the whole bird. You get 2 breasts, 2 thighs, 2 legs, 2 wings. The chicken is, you get the whole bird, you get a lot of things to work with. You get both the legs, both the thighs, both the breasts, and you get the carcass and the rest of the meat to make soup or stock or whatever you want to do. Really, nothing really goes to waste if you know what you're doing. It's not as hard to break down a whole chicken as people make it seem. I got 2 whole birds, $10. Awesome. Pork ribs, they didn't cut them for me, so it was a little cheaper. Got a rack of ribs for, what was it, like $8? Like $8 for this guy. I obviously have some fat and stuff to trim off, but each rib is here, and once I cook it, or I can cut it before I cook it, it's kind of dealer's choice. But I got this rack, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 10, 11 ribs for like $6. Great. Continue to wash my hands. More so while you were. Did any sound from that? Not a single sound. All right. Chicken, more chicken. Everybody likes a different cut of meat. I prefer the thigh of the bird. I like the rich depth that the dark meat has. It's not imperative that you like dark meat. If you like white breast meat, that's fine. I won't judge you. I mean, I will, but I'm gonna show you how to work with the thigh. So, chicken thighs, I think they're really easy to work with. Skin stays on there really nice, or it's also easy to remove, whichever you prefer. I also find that thighs are a little cheaper. I got 8 or 9 thighs for $5. Easy cheesy, it was great. Sometimes I debone them and I'll cut them up, sometimes I don't. It's really up to you. And then every once in a while, maybe like once a month, I'll buy red meat. I don't eat a lot of red meat. I'll go to the fish. What do you call a fish? What do you call a fish shop? It's not an aquarium because you don't eat those. Fish market. I go to the local fish market and I'll pick up a fish maybe a couple times a month, or I'll get red meat a couple times a month. Just depends. I do more chicken or vegetarian, and I throw pork, beef, and fish in there. Variety is the spice of life and key to a healthy life.